I just got to say, this is why I came here, you know, because it's culture, how we work, back against the wall. We just put our head down to work. Offensive line, it was said, everything was said about y'all. Y'all ain't give a damn. Y'all came in to work every day and that paying off. Let's keep building on this, man, and let's keep this momentum going, bro.
Okay, so sometimes we like to make football very complicated, right? I mean, sometimes football can be a very complicated game, and sometimes it is as simple as what?
Buffalo got their teeth kicked in. Literally. I mean, that was typical Baltimore Ravens football, playing great defense and grounding and pounding you to death. I mean, literally, the Baltimore Ravens about this Baltimore Ravens team in the AFC.
Well, so hold everything. Yesterday on Sunday NFL Countdown, Teddy was there, I was there, and I suggested to Rex that the Bills were the best team in the AFC. This is hours before this game kicked off last night. And what did you say?
Greeny, you know what I said?
Yeah.
I told you the Baltimore Ravens were the best team in the National Football League, even though they're 1-2. Oh, imagine that.
That's what happens when I got to work on Mondays. I got to work on Mondays, and I got to hear what this guy said on Sundays. You see what I'm saying?
I told you so. I told you. It's only based on 30 years. Coach, what the hell do I know? Here's what I know. No team in the history of the National Football League in their first 4 weeks of the season have outgained their opponents by over 100 yards rushing in every single game. Are you kidding me? This formula is, I mean, grounded. How? Because they were dead last in the NFL in pass defense.
Yep.
And guess what? I know they're way better than that. And so there's way more talent on that defense. It's a matter of time for them to come together. This team clearly, this is the one you don't want to play. Ever.
Let me just say a couple of things here because of it just something popped in my mind when listening to Derrick Henry address the team like that.
Yeah.
Just every player in that locker room, how cool would it be? And you feel indestructible with him in the backfield. Let's go win now because we can't be stopped because of that guy, and we're going to do it, and he's going to lead the way. That's championship type.
Team, please, because remember week 1 when they had the opportunity against Kansas City and they didn't get it done, then they lose that game to the Raiders and they keep forgetting to give the ball to Derrick Henry. Well, take a look. Coach Harbaugh said after week 1 that Henry wasn't signed to get the ball 30 times a game. Well, he was right. It's more like 24 or 25 because in their last 2 wins, he's had at least 150 yards rushing in each one. Those are the 2 games they've won this season. The formula is pretty simple. You want to put Lamar Jackson over the top, which everyone is waiting to see. Lamar Jackson needs one thing to solidify his place as one of the great players of all time. He's got 2 MVPs. He's off to one of the historically great starts in the sports history. But we know how we judge quarterbacks. He needs one thing, and that is some hardware on his finger. Yeah. Is this the guy who's going to get it for him?
Because I'll tell you why. The reason is because now the rushing aspect of Lamar Jackson is complementary. It isn't the main aspect of the running game. Now, before it was like, don't let Lamar beat you. Now it's like Lamar can also run it, and by the way, now he's gone for 40 to 50 yards.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like Baltimore, stay true to your identity. Don't deviate from. Sometimes offensive coordinators can get cute and all those type of things. You got a sledgehammer in the backfield. Okay, well, Lamar Jackson, stick to that with the way their defense is coming around. If they play defense like they played last night, that's the formula for Lamar Jackson to get hardware on his finger.
And the defense is so good. When Josh Allen was trying to do his superhero things, we showed the one play. That was the one that he had, but that was it.
Right.
Kyle Van Noy was all over him. They rushed him in a controlled way. I mean, it's just, and Lamar on the other side, did you notice anything out of the ordinary that he did? I mean, like Superman, like that Josh Allen play, because he didn't have to, but you know he still can.
Right.
You know he still can, and he will when he has to.
I think the big thing is going to be at the end of the season, sometimes Lamar wears down a little bit. We're going to see the fact that he has that big beast in the backfield with him. He doesn't have to run it as much as he used to.
I got my MVPs too.
Pressure.
I don't care.
And I'm telling you,
Here you
it's
go.
all going to be about targeting what the man, they're so set
He can
up
really
for it.
pick his spots now when he wants to take over and do the superhero things, but it's like, I don't have to, especially now in September or in October. Here you go, big man. Take this. It's okay with me. You go ahead and get your MVP. I got a couple of them.
The issue for the Ravens has been finishing, right? It's been finishing in the playoffs. It's been finishing in the fourth quarters. Maybe they finally have their closer. They have their Mariano Rivera, and he's a big fella that they call the king. We'll do the Buffalo side of the game a little bit later. I want to get you.
It sounds good.
The other Jackson,
it sounds good.
The other
It might
Jackson
not be
4 equal to
exactly Michael. Yeah. It might not be exactly how it is, but it sounds good.
You may have carried the load like Derrick Henry, but Evan also had a victory.
Exactly. It's a reasonable explanation.
Did you just do the sportsy transition back to the Ravens and the Bills last night? Wow, Smalls.
Man, what an ass kicking last night, though.
Yeah, all right, one game.
You said one game, but that was more than just one game for Baltimore. It was more than just
for them,
a game.
Yes.
It was a statement. We said it here on Friday, like this was going to mean more for the Baltimore Ravens than the Buffalo Bills, and you could see it right off the back. There was more urgency from the Ravens, and they did the thing that everybody was saying that they needed to do, which is get the ball to Derrick Henry early and often, and you saw how that unlocked the offense. You saw how that created a lot of holes in that Bills defense between the second and third levels, and Lamar Jackson was able to go to work, whether it was throwing it to Zay Flowers or targeted Isaiah Likely. I mean, there were a couple where Mark Andrews literally was wide open. Now, he dropped one, but he was able to redeem himself. I mean, you name it. Rashad Bateman even got in on the act. It created so many opportunities for that Ravens offense to get chunk plays, but it all starts with Derrick Henry setting the table. And I think the Ravens have to play through him and the run game if this team is going to get to where they want to go, which is competing in the championship rounds.
24 carries for Derrick Henry last night, 199 yards and a touchdown, an 87-yard run early in that game for a touchdown. And it's interesting. I think the Ravens, all of the negative that we said about them early has now been negated to some extent. Yes. The Chiefs game bothered us. Not that we ever thought they would beat the Chiefs. Chiefs are undefeated, but the way in which they approached it was kind of weak, not giving Derrick Henry the ball.
But they were also a toenail away from the result being completely different.
The Raiders game was ugly, obviously, especially with the way the Raiders look, even a win yesterday over the Browns, who are a disaster right now. But last night, the way in which they played kind of has me back personally to, whatever. The first 3 games of the season don't matter. They're back. They're back to, like, they're going to be competitive.
Contender.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm not so down on Buffalo. I do think they actually, in some way, shape, or form, reverted back to the old version of them last night and not the new version. And I recognized it personally early on, literally on the first drive of the game. 3rd and 2 at the 50-yard line, they start throwing at a shotgun. That's the old version of the Bills. To me, that's 2 runs. The new version, where we're going to play ball control, Josh Allen is going to be an elite game manager, run the football twice. Quarterback sneak it if you need to twice. Throwing the ball at a shotgun with Josh Allen, as great as he is the old version of the Bills. That scared me early on last night, and that's when I knew, they think he needs to be the superhero, and they're not actually sticking to what got them here this year.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense to take that offensive line, when they're in a 3-point stance and those guys are going forward, they're a lot better than when they're going backwards.
Yep.
Not to say that they're bad in pass protection, because they're damn good, but my whole point is you take away their ability to put their imprint on the game, because all of a sudden now, if you're in shotgun and they're in 2-point stances, they're not moving that defensive front from Baltimore off the ball. So I'm with you. I think there is something to that. We always said that this Buffalo Bills team needs to, take the approach with Josh Allen, less is more, and be more committed to the run game. They didn't do that against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't need that against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was more of basketball on grass. But that, to me, should have been the outlier game. Their plan of attack for Baltimore should have resembled what we saw in the first 2 matchups that they had, the win that they had against the Arizona Cardinals, what we saw in the second half, and then, of course, the win on the road in Miami. That's what it should look like for them on offense. It didn't look like that last night. Hell, it didn't look like that against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I will say this. I'm willing to give the Bills a bit of a reprieve in terms of the criticism. I'm willing to extend them a little bit of grace just because I think this is where the schedule caught up with them. I mean, you're talking about this team having 2 short week opponents over the last 16 days, is it? Think about it. Week 2, Thursday night on the road in Miami. Then they have a Monday night game after that. Then short week on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. That's a lot. They haven't had a normal Sunday to Sunday week of prep all year long. So to me, I think that's the part where it catches up with you a little bit. And then I think the Ravens are uniquely qualified to take advantage of some of the attrition that the Bills are dealing with. Remember, no Terrell Bernard, inside linebacker, no Matt Milano, and then, of course, no Taron Johnson, one of the best nickels in football. Last night they lost Taylor Rapp. He tried to roll up on Derrick Henry. Didn't work out for him. Lost out for concussion. I mean, think about it. That's the middle of your defense.
Yeah.
Gone. So I think the Baltimore Ravens were able to dominate in the run game because of the attrition, because of that deficiency. And so it ends up just being a bad matchup, but in no way, shape, or form do I believe that that's an indictment on who the Buffalo Bills are going to be moving forward. And I still look at Josh Allen as the guy to beat when it comes to the MVP race in 2024.
No, I do too, obviously. I mean, I'm not going to change off of the one game. And, discipline in many ways is doing what's hard now for what's better later. And I don't think the Bills showed a level of discipline in terms of sticking with the game plan, thinking, we're down. We have to start chucking the ball.
Can I ask you a question? What the hell was Joe Brady thinking in the third quarter with that flea flicker, Curtis Samuel, where he almost gets Josh Allen killed? What the hell is he doing?
Like I said, doing what's hard now for what's better later. Run the football.
But in what world was that a good idea? Like
I'm not saying
your team, you were able to generate a takeaway. Like you felt like you were building some momentum. You got a score. Things were moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Then you do that. You pull that one out of your hat. You almost got your quarterback killed. I mean, Travis Jones. You're lucky Travis Jones didn't take Josh Allen's head off because he tried. I mean, it was absolutely egregious. Like, to me, those are the things that you have to avoid. But to your point, Ev, as a play caller, as the OC, you have to have some restraint.
Yeah.
And you have to have a firm commitment to the identity that you believe is going to allow you to have success once we start getting to playoff-style football. And I'm sorry, Josh Allen dropping back to throw as much as he did, as much as he has over the last 2 games, is not it in terms of the answer that the Buffalo Bills are looking for in order to have a style of play that can win a championship.
All of this said, did we watch 2 future division winners?
Quarterback, as you enter the bye and you want to find an identity, do you two talk about maybe what you want the message to be to the team, or how you kind of want to handle, as you guys go into the second part of the year?
We have our moments.
Yeah. We have our moments. What was that?
He can't hide it. He can't hide it. To me, I think there's a disconnect. I saw it all last year at the end of the last season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was a disconnect with the head coach and the quarterback, certainly. He's just not – he can't hide it anymore. And
what is it?
Man, I think there's something personal there, too, is what it looks like to me. And, obviously the play – I don't think the quarterback, I think this young man's not playing with anywhere close to the confidence we saw him playing with. You're going to tell me about Shane Steichen, and you're so right. Ever since he left the building, I don't see the same confidence. He is not delivering the ball on time. So he holds the ball longer than any quarterback in the league. And to me, he's almost letting pressure get to him. So to me, there's no confidence in, hey, I'm going to get this receiver open or whatever.
You said something funny to me this morning, but when I said to you, well, look, the Eagles were playing without like half of their team yesterday. What is it you said to me immediately? You said they wanted to make good and sure what?
That there was plenty of excuses before this game. And they did. That's why I took Tampa over them. All right? And to me, it's like, no. Anytime somebody's presenting all those reasons why they're not going to get it done, somebody doesn't have confidence, and they certainly played that way. How the hell can you go into a game, all right? And I'm sorry if I'm getting off topic here a little bit.
Stay on topic. You're good.
But here's the thing. Baker Mayfield was sacked 12 times the previous 2 games.
Right up the middle.
You got him twice. What happened to this damn vaunted pass rush, all right? Like, Baker Mayfield converted. He was part of 20 first downs, the highest in his career. You did nothing to disrupt this guy.
Yeah.
Nothing. And sometimes the team, I think there's a bigger concern here. I think you got way too many independent contractors and nobody playing as a damn team. That's the problem with the Eagles.
You don't have to be best friends with your head coach, okay? You don't have to be best friends. And, I mean, playing for Bill Belichick like I did, I don't think he had any best friends on the team in terms of players. But we knew one thing, his contributions were immense in terms of what we did. What contribution is Nick Sirianni giving to Jalen Hurts or the defensive side of the ball? That's the thing. If you don't feel like there's either of those, listen, Coach, I'm not with you, and then you're not even doing anything for us to help us win football games, now you got problems. Now you got problems because you're almost winning in spite of your head coach. And that's not a good place to be. That's not a good place to be because you want to know that, I mean, when certain things have to be decided from the head coaching perspective, all right, decisions have to be made in situational ways throughout the course of the season, the right decision is going to be made. He'll make the right decision. I don't like you, but you'll still make that right decision, and that's where the respect comes in. But I don't even see the respect from Jalen Hurts with that response.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, that's the issue. It's not about liking and all that type of stuff. All right? It's about the respect. And there's something, that's why I think there's something a little bit odd, a little different there.
There's a disconnect.
A little personal. There is a true disconnect.
They're on their bye right now.
I gotta, here's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
All right, if I'm Nick Sirianni, the first thing I gotta ask myself is, by the way, do we meet together? Like, do we have a real team game plan, a win, how we're going to win this game plan? In other words, all the coordinators, I'm meeting with the offensive, defense, special team coordinator, all of us are going over the plan collectively. Because, look, if I got Vic Fangio in case here, guys, I'm the offense coordinator. I'm Boy Wonder.
Kellen Moore, yeah.
Kellen Moore. Look, I don't have my 2 top receivers, A.J. Brown and Smith. I don't have them. All right? And by the way, our right tackle ain't playing. We're going to need some hamburger last name helper, okay? And instead, I see a defense that's like, well, we're going to do our job. Your job's to win the game. Sometimes you got to show up and attack your opponent instead of just letting them do whatever the hell they want. And to me, that's it. They don't get it. It's like independent contract. Oh, we're okay back here. We're not the reason we're losing. Yes, you are.
You could almost bring
you are.
You can almost put it, not contracts, but almost independent units, right? An offensive unit, a defensive unit, and a special teams unit. And the man that makes it all mesh together, is the head coach.
And Nick, this is your football team. Your football team. If you got to sit back and say, hey, if I got to fight an assistant coach, I'm going to. That's what he needs to do. I've done it.
I think the point you're making is a really good one. And maybe the blame for that has to go all the way to the top. If you're going to keep the head coach, but you're going to fire both the coordinators and bring in guys that everyone knows weren't his choices in the first place anyway, you have already set him up to fail. You're putting him in an almost impossible situation. And let me get D. Wood in here, because you made the point, and you mentioned the name, Shane Steichen. The last time we saw Shane Steichen and Jalen Hurts together, where were they and what were they doing?
They were in the Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field.
Even over Patrick
Mahomes, he was the best player on the field. Jalen Hurts hasn't looked anything close to what he was at that point. So much of when those two were together, so much of that was the RPO game. And I think Jalen Hurts is at his best when you get him going running the football. It gets him into a rhythm, and then I think that's where the passing game goes. Now, A.J. Brown being out is definitely a detriment to the Philadelphia Eagles offense. There's no question about it. But clearly, there is a disconnect offensively in how they're utilizing Jalen Hurts, and he has not been the same since Shane Steichen left, become the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts.
They need healthy players. Let's just put it safe. Okay, they also need healthy players. I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't, I wouldn't say, he isn't, you remember Josh Allen, okay, not this week, but last week versus the Jags. Boom, boom, wheeling, dealing, making everybody look better. I don't think Jalen Hurts there yet. As a quarterback, he needs AJ. He needs Devontae. He needs those guys to help him look better. That's where he is right now. So to get healthy players back, bye week I think they're on.
They are in their bye week right now.
Let's get it right that way, because they are professionals, okay? And if I do not like my head coach, I can still play.
Right.
I can still play because I'm playing for that check that I get to feed my family that's at home, okay? Right. I'm still going to play, but I need my guys.
You know what's interesting about this, though, guys, is to lose this game is not some terrible sign. They were badly injured. All their guys were missing, and Tampa's a good team, and it was on the road, and it was 90 degrees or whatever it was. But it's the way they lost is the point that you were making. You told me in the pregame yesterday, Jalen Carter should have 6 sacks in this game because of the way the interior of that Tampa Bay offensive line was playing. And so it didn't happen, and that's what bothers you.
Yeah, it pisses me off because I'm sitting back going, I don't like to lie to to the fans or whatever. I expected him to dominate that game.
And why didn't he?
He never dominated because they ran slide protection going. He's getting the center and the guard every time. Why? Because you're not doing anything. You're not bringing anybody. He's going to be doubled. Of course he is. I expected him to free up. Let's go one-on-one. Let's push the pocket in this small quarterback's face that wants to sit in there, desperately to sit in there. He's not off his spot the whole game. And bring some stuff. Vic Fangio, way better coach than this. Come on. What the hell? And understand, look, you know what? There's a lot of smart old coaches that I learned from. All right? And it used to be this. All right? If you can send 4, that's great. My wife can coach a defense if you can get to the quarterback with 4 guys.
Right.
Half these guys in the league are like that, okay? Sometimes you got to send 5 to get there. If you can't get there with 5, I send 6. If you can't get there, with 6, you better send 7. And if it takes more than that, you're going to get your butt kicked, but keep firing them. And I don't care. This thing, they did nothing. The best plan you got, Jalen Carter was the biggest mismatch in the game. And we never saw it. It's like, is he even out there? Is he hurt? No, you're getting 2 men. I can't beat 2 guys, all right? I mean, I don't care if you're Aaron Donald. You're not going to beat 2 guys consistently.
Baker said it. Baker said it after the game. He's doing a great job of taking what the defense gives him. They protected him, okay? They got the protection taken care of, and then the short passes to get out of it. And by the way, the second quarter, third quarter comes around, the D-line, the pass rush is gassed.
And that's a great point. You know why they're gassed? Because they're not getting off the dang field. And that's the whole thing. It ain't about what they're doing. Get off the dang field.
Another great storyline from that game was the Baker Mayfield-Tom Brady exchange. We have